welcome to the Realm Kast. I am your host, the Mortal Kombat FANTiM, and with me as always is our co-host, the lore master, Yanni. Welcome, Yanni.
Thanks, FANTiM.
And today we have a special guest. He is the stuntman who has become the fan favorite in 2021's Mortal Kombat movie, Daniel Nelson, who played Kabal. Thanks, Daniel, for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. This is exciting. You're our first actor from the movie to jump on the Realm Kast, so it's good to have you.
Yeah, sweet. Well, hopefully not the last. Maybe you'll get someone else back on.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Daniel, usually with the Realm Kast, we like to start off by asking you a couple questions. First of all, who is your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
I guess it's Kabal now, although I think before I was cast in the role, it was like either Johnny or Liu Kang. Oh,
that's cool. Did you have any hopes of getting cast as Johnny when you first started auditioning for this?
No, I didn't really think that far ahead, or I was just, I remember they just said there was a character with weapons. I didn't know who it was, and I was like, cool. Like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Did you have any background with Mortal Kombat like before this?
Actually, fairly limited. I played it as a kid. I think it was like Mortal Kombat 3 was the one I remember the most. But I missed like the PlayStation 2 era and the PS3 era. What do they call it? The 3D era, I think.
Yeah.
But when I got cast, I jumped on and made sure I was up to date. I actually kind of just started at number 9 and went to 11 and sort of did a bit more background research on Kabal because, he's been retconned and there's a few different iterations of him. So it was actually quite tricky trying to get my head around it. But and then again, the Kabal in the movie, he's retconned again. So he's he's his own. He takes things away from both versions of the Mortal Kombat.
It's interesting always to ask, like, when somebody's played a character, who their favorite character is, because I think it's just happened once maybe where somebody's character that they played was their favorite character already. But I for you to say, it was Liu Kang, and then now it's definitely Kabal. It's really cool to see, especially after you've done all that sort of research by playing the games to check them out.
I think that's probably it. Yeah, like before I did the movie, I didn't really know much about Kabal. And then finding out his history where he goes from good to bad, and it's quite interesting. And he's a bit of a smart ass too. I quite like that about him.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's cool that you noticed kind of the retcon issues that are with the game, because a lot of fans talk about this too, how Kabal's character especially has gone through so many different changes like since the beginning.
He's full of drama behind his Vexor. Like, nobody knows what's going on. It's amazing.
Quite funny too, like the different voice actors and accents that he has, along the way. And there's a bit of talk around like his heritage, and I remember seeing someone wrote when they announced that I was playing him, and said, he doesn't look very Spanish, or doesn't look he doesn't look very Hispanic. And I'm like, one, you're not going to see me. He had a Western accent in one of the versions of so I know his name's Carlos or whatever, but we don't know where he was born or who his parents were and stuff. So I think there's a bit of liberty there.
Yeah, that's a good take. He could have been a Australian Latino.
That's right. Yeah, you never know.
So you played a lot of the different games, especially preparing for the role. Did you have any favorites of the game itself?
11 was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you like about it, or did you just enjoy beating up on people?
I really enjoyed like all the visuals of the the cutscenes, actually. Like and the choreo and stuff that that's just designed in the cutscenes it's really good. It's just some stuff we just can't possibly do in film.
Mhm.
That you see in there is real creative. I really like that about it.
Something cool about the newer games is they all kind of became more cinematic, even.
Mm.
Like they told a story as if it were its own movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that really keeps me, because I'm probably, my favorite genre of games is more like action adventure. Like I'm playing Zelda Breath of the Wild at the moment, and I'm
Ooh.
addicted to that. But fighting games aren't usually my go-to. But I think having those really cinematic cutscenes that link from one fight to the other, it keeps you in the game, or keeps me really entertained.
That's very interesting, actually, because it's sort of another one of those divided things in the community where many people absolutely love the cinematics because it feels like it brings them into it, and then some people feel removed from it because of that, because they're playing less, But always very interesting to hear the opposing sides.
Yeah.
So how did you actually get the role of Kabal? I mean, is this something you just kind of saw a casting call for and applied and you were it, or was there anything special about your casting process?
Yeah, there was actually a funny one. There was like on Facebook there was a casting call. They were looking for someone with weapon skills and martial arts skills and stunt skills. And so I believe that was for Kabal and maybe Reiko as well. So they were like sending that out, and I guess every man and his dog applied, and so did I. And I think they had me. They got back to me and sort of said, "Oh, we're interested," and then it they it ended up going away, and they didn't want me. And I'm like, "Oh, all right, whatever." And I got offered another job in Malaysia, actually, which I was like about to go, and like I said yes to the job in Malaysia, and then that job fell through in Malaysia, and then I get a call from the casting director again. Actually, we want you for the role, and it actually came down to the second unit director who I'd worked for in the same year on Godzilla vs Kong, and he recommended me. I think they wanted someone tall who had martial art ability and probably suit work experience too. Probably helped because it was quite difficult fighting in the mask, and the costume itself was fine. It was just pretty much the mask made it really difficult to just fight. You had no peripheral vision, and you had the two red lasers in front of my eyes were sort of blocking any vision looking forward, so I could kind of only see above and below, which so it was quite tricky, and it could have been claustrophobic for someone who wasn't experienced in that sort of world.
Yeah. But did you have any experience with hook swords too, or was it something that you kind of had to pick up?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I had no experience with hook swords, and I just had, I guess, basic sword experience. So when I found out I had the role, I just sort of immersed myself more, and Kali stick stuff was what I was doing the most, which kind of I found quite helpful. Learning to use both hands at the same time, and it's tricky. But I had a little bit of time to get used to it, and hopefully it looked okay in the end.
Looked pretty good. If anything, I was going to say the sort of fighting style you gave to Kabal was very fitting. That just came about specifically from the choice of weapons that you had experience with, like the Kali sticks and such?
Yeah, I guess just trying to give it energy too. I think that's the big thing about you can be a martial artist and be an expert with hook swords or kung fu, but when you're on screen, you really need to give lots of energy, and it's something that I've learned more even since Mortal Kombat. Like I went and I just finished doing Thor: Love and Thunder, and learnt more again on that job to perform even better. So I think say I went into Kabal now would have given an even better experience, performance than I did then. But that's just what we do. You're always growing and trying to improve, and yeah. So for me, it was just trying to look flowy, and you're trying to make it not look like you can't see what you're doing, or can't see your opponent. Always keeping the other hand busy when you're striking your one, with the one hand, you're doing something with the other sword, and it's all that stuff that kind of reads well on camera.
This was actually the first time that Kabal had been portrayed in a live action movie. What kind of things did you do to make the character your own? To try to bring him out but still bring in pieces of yourself while playing him.
Well, for one, I got to have a little bit of input with the costume, because I was going down before so we shot in Adelaide, which is 4 hours south of where I live, 4-hour flight south. It's on the bottom of Australia. So I was going down a couple of weekends before, and they were having input. I was having input with costume. And it wasn't like I asked. They just sort of said to me one day, like, "Oh, if you have anything you'd like to add, go for it." So I went away and had to think about it, and came back, and I really liked the crocodile or jaguar or whatever that tooth is that he has. So I asked if I could have that on it, and they were like, "Yeah, sweet." And I really liked his backstory with Stryker in Mortal Kombat 9. So I was thinking, well, he's in a police vest, so maybe I could have, a little memento to him or a badge. And they were like, "Yeah, sweet." So that, they had to prove it. It wasn't just like the costume guy was like, "Yeah, prove it through production," and the director and producers. But other than that, just trying to give him a presence. It's really hard when you can't use your facial expressions to give someone a bit more life. So, I don't know. I guess I did that through breathing and through composure. And I worked in theme parks as all sorts of characters. Mainly like from the Warner Brothers DC world. So I've got a lot of experience, I guess, with just different characters, and so I think that sort of helped me. Just having that, I guess, that screen presence.
How did you go from working in a theme park to becoming a stuntman?
So the theme park, the theme park got me into stunts because my job at the theme park, we would do live stunt performances. So it's sort of one thing led to another, and all the guys
like cowboy shootouts and stuff like that.
No, I worked at Warner Brothers Movie World to begin with, and so they have like Batman and.
Oh, gotcha. So like the big live action, like the full set with everything.
So they had that sort of stuff. They had they used to have like Police Academy there, but the stunt show that they had there was Hollywood Stunt Driver. It's it's sort of got cars and bikes, and I played a planted guest that gets set on fire and does high falls, and, gets dragged by cars, and so you're there every day training. You're working and doing stunts, and then the guys you work with, they were guys that had been there for years that were working in film. So you got good mentors, and that's kind of how you go from, I guess, coming into a theme park very green, and I just had a little bit of acting experience, and then sort of, I don't know, I just have to start training. Work's training, but then you got to go and train outside of work too. And then and then started getting films.
Sounds pretty intense, honestly. I mean, have you had many injuries throughout this sort of work, or even during the Mortal Kombat filming?
Not in Mortal Kombat. I didn't have any injuries. Slipped over a couple of times during that fight.
You're running so fast.
Yeah. We were fighting on like a slight gradient, and then it was like polished concrete, and they would wetting it down to get it like nice and reflective, which looked great on camera, but it was just made impossible to move on. So I remember like they showed us some bloopers at the rap party, and there's a couple of me slipping on my ass, and but no, I didn't get any injuries. But I have had injuries doing my stunts, and nothing that's kept me out of the business. Just sort of you go and have a few weeks, a few easy weeks, and then get back into it. Yeah, no broken bones.
Wow, that's impressive for a stuntman to not have any broken bones yet.
Yeah, touch wood.
Don't say
And
yet,
I
man.
say
Don't
yet.
say yet.
Hoping you don't get any.
I hope not.
So, as far as you do stunts and you do acting, is this your first real acting performance on the big screen, or had you done any other roles? I mean, well, of course you've done a lot of stunt work, like Godzilla vs. Kong, you mentioned, Thor Love and Thunder, Pirates of the Caribbean, but was this your first time being able to act while you're performing your stunts and doing your scenes?
Yeah, I guess like my first like prominent role. I mean, there's been smaller things in the past, like small things on big films, but this is the one where I can actually sit down at the end of the day and watch it and go, cool, that's me and that's my performance. Other stuff was more like you blink and you miss it. I had like a acting role on Godzilla vs. Kong, and then they sort of changed the script in post. And unfortunately, all the scenes that I was in and didn't end up making the cut. They sort of went a different way with the story, and I was thinking, like, oh, this will be cool, like have that, and then go to have that, and then Mortal Kombat, and it's like start to get a little profile, but it wasn't meant to be with that movie. But man, I've just done a lot of back in the day I was doing a lot of short films, doing acting stuff and that, and yeah, sorry, like I said before, get very minor speaking roles, but nothing where I've done the acting and the fighting or stunts in the same role.
Mm-hmm.
But you are trying to make that full switch in a way, like, or at least combine the two.
Am I trying to? Is it?
Yeah, I guess it's.
You know what? I'm not really pursuing it, but if it presented itself, I definitely wouldn't say no. I just find the stunt work is what is the work that keeps offering itself up for me. And I think it's going to be hard for me to use my role in Mortal Kombat to push my acting career, because one, you don't see my face, and two, it's Damon Herriman's voice. So, so that's I mean, it's going to help in some ways, but I think it's going to take a particular person to go, oh, we loved his performance, his physical presence. We want that for this movie where they have a similar sort of thing, a guy in a mask. And so that might be something that takes off for me, is creature work or suit work. But for now, I'm just sort of still chasing the stunt stuff, because and things like this pop up. They know you can do a bit of acting, and you end up sort of getting roles through stunts. Yeah.
So you mentioned that somebody else did the voiceover work. Now, did it start off that way? Because I feel like I remember you saying somewhere that you had actually done the voice for Kabal, and then there was a sort of switch at some point.
So,
is that the case?
Yeah. So like initially, Kabal had no dialogue in the first script I read, and then there was the scene with me and Kano that sort of got added in there later, like while we're filming, like, oh, they passed me a script, oh, here, you're doing this now. So I'm like, oh, okay, so the role was sort of growing as we were filming it. And then, the fight scene with me and Ludi in Raiden's temple, that wasn't in the movie until the reshoots. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So that again was like another chunk of dialogue and stuff. So I think Kabal grew again. The same as the throne room where you meet Kabal and Reiko for the first time. We didn't shoot that till the reshoots. So there's another bit of dialogue that Kabal. So yeah. So initially, that's why they got a stuntman for the role, because initially it's like, we just want someone that can fight and, but, I definitely rose to the occasion when they gave me the script. I'm like, cool, felt very comfortable doing it. I think like the fact that you're hiding behind a mask helped. Didn't get so nervous. I just and yeah, so like when when I was doing the scene with Josh, it's me and Josh having a conversation, and then they came to me during the reshoots and they said, "Hey, look, we're thinking of getting Damon Harriman to do the voice. How do you feel about that?" And I said, "Look, I don't mind. I'd love to have a shot though. I'd love you just to get me in the sound room and do it. And then if at the end of the day, if you think you can get a better performance from someone else, then by all means go for it. But I'd at least love to have a go."
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And apparently they were really close to using I spoke to one of the sound guys. He said, "Oh, they loved it and they were really close to using it." But I mean, I'm not. I'm a little. It would have been nice to have done the whole performance, but at the same time, what Damon did was pretty cool, and he's a pretty good performer. So
yeah, I think with Damon's performance, or I'm not even sure with your performance. Did you carry over your accent into it, or did you kind of go for more Americanized accent when you did it?
I did an American accent. Yeah, I'd had a lot of experience. So when we play, Batman at the movie world, we're not Australian Batman. We're Gotham City, and the same with all the other superheroes and stuff. So yeah, I'd done a lot of American accent stuff, and I'm not saying my American accent is perfect, but I definitely feel like I can comfortably talk an American accent.
It's easy to fake.
It's not. I have to think too much as I'm speaking, and so yeah, I did the American accent, and so that's what I just kind of figured Kabal has American accent in most versions of him. I think all versions of him. So,
is there any content out there with you speaking as Kabal that you know of?
Not. I mean, I guess it's somewhere out there, but no, it's probably been dragged into the trash file. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it or anything. It would be cool. It'd be nice to see it, just to even for myself, But
yeah. The character itself, he comes across as very villainous and menacing throughout the whole movie. It sounds like a lot of this kind of came about through the reshoots themselves, and it wasn't actually the original intention. I mean, if you were kind of like this silent character at first, then the reshoot sounds like that's where you got a lot of the characteristics and kind of building up the character from it, like as you mentioned, the Kano Kabal scene and things like that. What made them decide to kind of add that to your character? I mean, I love that they did, because as we said earlier, he's a fan favorite now from the movie. Like it's the standout character that everybody loved about Mortal Kombat, him and Kano. So
my hunch, like, I know when I had my first costume fitting, like Simon was there and he had a look at my costume, and I remember him being like blown away, and I remember he said, "I think you've got the coolest costume in the movie." So I have a feeling maybe they saw me and they're like, "Wow, we need more of this." And then I don't know, as far as what with the reshoots, as why there were more stuff with Kabal, whether it was from the test screening, people wanted, I don't know, they asked some questions and, hey, who do you want to see more of or whatever. I'm not sure, but that would be my guess, that the test audience responded well to Kabal, and so, hey, let's give him some more dialogue. And I was really stoked that there was a bit more dialogue, because I wanted to sort of play the relaxed Kabal a bit, and I think I got to do it in that scene with Shang Tsung, when the Shang Tsung's throne, just give him a bit more laid back physicality, because that way you see a few different sides to him, and so yeah, that's what I was sort of going for in that scene. And then all the other scenes it's a bit, the story is a bit more tense, so you sort of got to have a bit, the presence needs to be a bit different.
The Shang Tsung throne room, that was it became one of the deleted scenes, didn't it? Or was that in the actual movie? I don't remember now.
The bridge. I'm assuming the bridge.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not a throne room, it's more like a throne cliff. Yeah. Sorry, can you hear my thing going off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll turn that off.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll mute that chat. Mute. All right. Hopefully that fixes that.
No problem.
So
Yeah.
you were working obviously with the full cast. How was it? Like, because you obviously had this sort of villains that you were working with, and then you had the heroes and everything. Now, did you spend more time with anyone in particular? Like, it seemed like, based on the pictures from behind the scenes, that everybody was like had a really nice friendship going during the filming and stuff.
Yeah, it was nice. Everyone was fairly welcoming and friendly, and obviously some of them were, probably got along. Like, I think a few of those main guys, they would all hang out together and stuff, and obviously they saw each other a lot because they're in the movie a lot more. I really got along with Nathan. He doesn't live too far from me. Like, we're both Queenslanders, and we'd share a trailer most of the time. The two biggest guys on set. Trailer. And so Nathan plays Reiko, if anyone didn't know that. He's such an interesting guy, and he loves a chat. But I like that about people. I like when they're quite, larger than life. It's quite entertaining. You often don't have to say much yourself. You just listen to them. But
I don't know how you can fit in a trailer with him.
Yeah, oh mate, it was tricky, It was quite comical.
Yeah.
But no, everyone was really friendly. I thought Joe was a lovely guy. The big bad guy was the nicest guy on set, I reckon. Yeah.
Did you get to work with both actresses that played Nitara, or were you guys even on set at the same time? Because originally they had a stunt woman, Alyssa Caldwell, cast for her, and then she had an injury, I heard, and they replaced her with Mel Johnson. Did you get to interact with them at all?
Yeah. No, we filmed. So Alyssa was there, and Alyssa, I know Alyssa. We worked together at the theme park, for years.
Oh wow, yeah.
We know each other quite well. And so I worked with her, during the main shoot, and then I worked with Mel too during the reshoots. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, that you got to see both actresses play that same character, so you got to see it twice.
Yeah, and I don't think it was like, yes, Alyssa got injured, but I don't know the reason in the end. Maybe they just wanted to go a different way with the character, or
okay.
But
flawless victory, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it. Like, I know, like, there was a news article that said she did get injured, but I don't think that was the reason that she didn't end up playing.
Did you guys end up having a lot of different injuries on set, or was that the main one that happened?
I know a few of the stunties got minor things, which it comes with the territory, but
yeah.
And Alyssa's injury wasn't on Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
It was on another movie the following year.
So let's talk a little bit about your stunt work in the movie itself. Was Kabal's fighting style, was this really based on anything, or was it just kind of something you put together based off of practicing the hook swords and things like that?
I tried to. So Kabal isn't kung fu trained, so the Chinese hook swords come from that wushu and kung fu, and but from my understanding, Kabal gets these swords as a trophy and uses them, right? So he hasn't gone to the Shaolin temple and trained with the Chinese hook swords. So which is great for me, because I wasn't kung fu trained either. So so you could make it a little bit more hack and slash, but at the same time you need the flurries look really great, and the over the head.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just tried making it look efficient and flowy, and you're making it look big where you can, and yeah, just I didn't base it off anything, but I trained in Kali, and there's a lot of spins, and you're using your weapons, and you got your other one tucked under your arm, and so all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So I take it you had some martial arts experience before this.
Yeah, well, the main martial art I trained in is boxing. But then with all the live shows, you're sort of doing a lot of kicking, and I've done a little bit of judo, a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, fair chunk of Muay Thai. I train since Mortal Kombat. I have trained in Kung Fu, and I really like Chinese broadsword and bow staff, and it's been tricky. I haven't trained in it this year, but I was getting into it last year. But I've been quite busy this year, which is a good thing. You know, when you're busy on a movie and you don't get to train. But yeah, I look forward to picking that up again soon. And it adapts itself really well to film Kung Fu, I find, because it's quite flowy and all that.
Yeah,
looks great on screen.
I could definitely see how fluid you were with your movements as Kabal. If anything, you were saying that you were doing your research by looking through the games and such. There was clearly a sort of influence from Mortal Kombat 11 Kabal in terms of movements and such. So yeah, that definitely came across.
Oh, cool. It's good to hear.
Now, I'm just curious, because this is going back to an earlier question, but you mentioned the Easter eggs with sort of Striker's badge and the tooth, whatever the tooth it was. Was there anything else you sort of added to the costume, or anything that sort of stuck out?
No, I think those were the two that I asked for. But there were other things, like I think initially on the mask they had written like a few of his signature moves on the top left of the mask, and but the mask it ended up getting quite scratched back, so it wasn't really legible. But there was definitely, like there's on the rag I had from my belt, they had a black dragon on it, but you don't really ever see that in the film. The police vest, obviously, it's a bit of an Easter egg. I think that was it.
How about the mask itself? Did you have any input with how the mask sort of looked at all, or maybe in terms of comfort? Or
no, I didn't. I had someone come to my house in the Gold Coast, and they did a face scan of me, and then they was at my exact measurements, and then they just made a mold down in Adelaide, and then made the mask, and yeah,
pretty cool. I mean, one thing, when everybody heard about Kabal sort of making it into the movie in some way, we were all very curious to see how the mask would end up, because obviously the mask is iconic for Kabal and is really iconic to Mortal Kombat as a whole, the masked ninjas and everybody. So one thing that was very cool was seeing everybody sort of react positively to the mask of choice for the movie, because it really did fit Kabal.
Yeah, mate, I haven't seen too much negative comments about the mask. They've all been like really positive. I saw a couple of people say that he looked like a Bionicle, which I thought was quite funny. I used to collect those as a kid. I'm like, oh yes. Yeah. And then a lot of people say, oh, it looks like Predator, and it's like, yeah, there's resemblance there, but any guy you put in a mask with red glowing eyes, it's going to look a little bit predatory. So, yeah, I get a bit over those comments. Like, oh, it's just Predator. It's like, well, put them side by side. They don't really look that similar,
I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was amazing. There's even been some cosplayers now who have fully recreated the entire look to it, and like it's kind of carried on, past the movie in a way, because so many fans loved Kabal and loved that look. So it was cool.
Yeah, some of them have contacted me, and You know, they go, "Oh, do you have any like photos of your left hip?" Or you know, like
True cosplayers.
like,
Yeah.
like, or what's holding up your knee pad, or just a few little things. And I try to help them out where I can because yeah, it's great. I love seeing the cosplayers like, and some of them have done a really, really good job. And the ones that like, it's just great, because people do what they can with the money they have. So even the ones that they get close, it's like, yeah, good on you.
Yeah.
It must feel awesome having people dressing up as you, right? So
yeah. I guess it's me.
Now, you mentioned obviously the criticism of the mask. How about, I mean, it's a huge franchise, right? Mortal Kombat is a series with a huge fandom, and there was always going to be criticism and positive reactions. How did you deal with sort of the negative criticism?
I try. Yeah, I don't think about it too much, or I just have a laugh about it. Because like it was the first time that I was having a bit of time in the spotlight, so you do look at what people are saying about you, or you Google your name, or and go, oh, what's been said. So people online are very opinionated, but I take it as a grain of salt. It's just like you just go, oh yeah, whatever. That's some one asshole's opinion.
Were you surprised by fans' reactions to you? Because as we stated earlier, I mean, people loved Kabal. I mean, were you surprised that this would have become such a big character? I mean, he's not one of the main characters of the movie, but as far as the fandom goes, he had become such a big character out of that, a big takeaway. Were you surprised by that at all?
I actually had a feeling that they were going to like him, like, and my sort of thing is like I feel like he's the Boba Fett of this movie, like this,
Yeah,
a big character, but people loved him. And 20 years, 30 years later, he's got a spin-off TV series happening, and I think that's the thing. It's like people just go, "Oh, we love that look. We love what you are." I think I got more screen time than Boba Fett though. He got killed off pretty quickly in that
right.
Yeah, I had a feeling they were going to like him because I know people they like masked characters.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
guilty.
I don't know what it is. Whether it's because maybe you can picture yourself in there, or I don't know what it is that draws people to the
mystery and how badass it looks. That's really what it comes down to for me.
I think anybody can identify to them too, because you don't know what's behind the mask. I mean, in Kabal's case, even we know that there's something gruesome behind the mask, but we don't know exactly what it looks like. So, yeah,
I agree. I think that's what it is. So, yeah, it's cool. I really liked it. I like I said before, I like the challenge of being in a mask, but still trying to give this guy a bit of personality. And I watched a lot of The Mandalorian, like before we went filming, and it's just like, how does he give the Mandalorian life? What does he do? Is it subtleties? Is it little nods? Is it so you can't, when you talk, you don't want to just be like shaking your head like an idiot. You got to. So yeah, it was a challenge, but I really quite enjoyed the challenge.
Came across very well. I remember getting back from watching the movie, and I've been staying in during this period, and I specifically made an exception to go see the movie. And I came back, and FANTiM and I just sat down, we spoke, and I was saying I loved Kano and I loved Kabal. Straight up. That was the two standout performances for me. And it was so good to see Kabal really get proper sort of time in the spotlight, because as we've said, he's I mean, everybody in Mortal Kombat is important in the overarching story, but obviously some characters are sort of minor in a way where they contribute to the story, and Kabal is one of those, I feel. So it was really cool to see him get his moment, really. And you definitely,
it was nice that he was the one that sort of got Kano to come to the villain side and
kick things off.
Yeah, and so he had a little bit of to do with the plot, the plot point, and it when I was filming, I'm like, oh, they can't get rid of this scene, you know, like they got to keep me in there now. Like, you know, so.
Have you gone back and rewatched the movie recently, or I mean, I'm sure you've seen it since it came out originally.
I watched it sort of like 3 times in the cinema.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think once at the premiere in Sydney, then I got back to the Gold Coast and went and watched it with my mates.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and then the third time was during the reshoots. So like 4 months before the movie came out, we got to see like a rough cut of the film. So it had missing CGI and the music wasn't the final score. But it was, you know, it's cool. But, you know, every time I watch it, I just enjoy the hell out of it. I love what it is. I love that it's kind of, it knows what it is. It's not trying to be Citizen Kane. It's just like, we're here to show you some action, and it looks stunning, and it's kind of cheesy. It's kind of like what you want it to be, that sort of 90s action,
right?
You know? I think it was great.
Did you have any favorite moments from the movie itself?
I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, I liked seeing my stuff, but I really enjoyed filming Raiden's temple, and we all converged there. Like, I remember there's a day where it was like pretty much, I think every like character was there, and we were you're just sitting there looking around, going, "Oh, this is pretty cool."
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. You know, when you got, you know, the good guys squaring off with the bad guys, and it's all about to go down. I think that was my favorite bit. That just whole sequence in the in Raiden's temple.
Yeah. The big face off moment when everybody comes together.
That's right. Yeah, I liked that bit. Yeah.
So you did mention earlier, unless I'm misunderstanding, that the sort of fight scenes in Raiden's temple were just sort of changed, maybe not last minute, but towards the end. Where were you supposed to be fighting, if not in Raiden's temple?
No, so I was always there, but I was there. We filmed the bit where Liu Kang shoots the fire at me, and that initially was meant to be slow-mo. It was meant to be that he shot this fire spiral, and I weaved through the fire and got up real close and like slash him, do a spinning back kick and kick him down the for whatever reason. Maybe it was pacing issues, you know, it might have slowed down the whole thing. So it ended up I liked what it was anyway, how it just obliterated the fire with the swords, and like did the nomad dash at him. So that was sort of kind of it. And there was a little bit that didn't make, where towards the end I run out and get hit by Kung Lao's hat and take a ratchet into a pillar. So there's a few little things in there that didn't make it, but yeah, so it was just that the bit where we go down in the corridor and I'm sprinting like one side of him to the other. That was the reshoot fight scene, and we choreographed that, prevised it, and filmed it in about 5 hours.
Oh
wow.
Yeah, it was, because they were just sort of like, it was like kind of, I think it was a last minute thing. It's like, we need to see more of Kabal using his hook swords, because I don't think they could saw them quite and as much as they wanted to in the quarry, in Goro's lair. So yeah, so that was like, we want the scene, we want you to do it, we want to see his speed, we don't want you to use visual effects, you know, we want it to be as cheap as possible or whatever, because they were just trying to do a lot. So we had to sort of come up with something, and we did it with, I guess, camera angles, and then, you know, you see the purple blur, and, you know, sort of really helps sell that he's sort of sprinting one side to the other. And I was pretty happy. I really liked that little fight in there.
Well, I mean, firstly, it's good to hear you say the Nomad Dash. It's nice to hear the name drop.
Yeah, I was thinking
that. How did you find these sort of special effects? Like, because obviously you had the sort of, you keep doing this, and that's pretty much the best way to describe it. That and the Nomad Dash. How did you feel about how they turned out? What was the process like as well?
Yeah, like it's. I love how they kept it like a purple blur, and they added the purple like trails to the when I'm swinging the swords. I think it's it makes no sense, but it looks awesome, and it's a nice nod to the to the games. So I think it looks great, and
Were you happy with Kabal's death scene? I mean, it was so iconic. It kind of made the trailers and everything. Were you like surprised and happy how that turned out?
Yeah, I was. Thought it was great. I was like, yeah, I get to get eaten by a big fire dragon.
Awesome. Every man's dream.
Like, I think the dragon, I think, looked awesome. And I love getting set on fire. So that was actually my first fire burn I got to do for screen.
So that wasn't special effects. That was straight up setting you on fire.
That was real. We did it 3 times. The first yeah, they weren't quite happy with the amount of fire. The first 2, there wasn't enough. Didn't look like it could kill me, I guess. And then so for the 3rd time, they ended up like tearing up a bunch of like t-shirt, dousing it in fuel, adding it to into my costume in the little nooks and crannies, and then so I just went up like a Christmas tree. It was great, but I've done hundreds of fire burns before in live shows, so I felt very comfortable, and I knew, I know the dangers around fire, and I think if I hadn't have done all those fire burns in the live shows, I think I could have freaked out, because I couldn't see anything. All I could see was red, like flames in front of me. I got the mask on, so that was protecting me, but I couldn't breathe. I was breathing through a little hole in front of me, so I had to hold my breath the whole time. And I didn't know when the flame was going to go up. I knew that I got back into the position. I sort of like shielded myself from the dragon, and I knew that was sort of their cue. When I got back, take a couple of steps back, that was their cue to light me up. But I didn't know exactly when it's going to happen, because some of them before was taking its time lighting. So I think I was like halfway through a breath out, and then I saw the flames in front of my face. So then I'm like, all right, I'm on here, but I had no air in my lungs, and I had to do I think it was about a 20-second breath hold. And then go face first into the water, and my mask filled with water, and then I had no air in my lungs to like breathe, like exhale then I was sort of choking on the the water. But it was like, that's I love that. It's a challenge, and that's why I do stunts, is like just the challenge of it all.
I love it when we talk to stuntmen on this show, because they're always like, oh yeah, I loved it. I got to get set on fire and drowned. It's like you guys have such a passion of getting destroyed, which I mean looks amazing on screen, and we appreciate it, but gosh, I can't imagine.
I just feel like Kabal's respirator really would have come in handy there.
It would have been nice if it was real, if it worked.
Yeah, really.
That would have come in handy. Yeah. But I don't think Kabal's dead. I think, I reckon that respirator is still working. He was face down in the water, breathing through that. The water put him out, and I reckon he's going to get up and just be like, dust himself off, and he goes, the good guys have gone. I might head back to Earth, and see him in a sequel.
Well, I mean, are you still involved at all with the series?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard anything. I know some guys like Joe was signed on for multiple installments, whereas there was none of that for me. that's not to say that they can't get me back, or or if they wanted to get me back, I would most likely say yes if I. But no, yeah, I'm not. I don't know where they're at with it, what's happening. I assume they're in pre-production and trying to lock down a script and all that, but I have no idea.
It's good to hear that you're willing to come back, though, because even if it's like a prequel series or a sequel, like we would love to see more Kabal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not in any position to turn down that sort of work. Mate, it was pretty funny after, so we just finished Mortal Kombat and then coronavirus hit, and there were no films being shot in, like, the only film being shot in Australia was Shang-Chi during 2020, and they had the auditions for that when we were shooting Mortal Kombat, so I didn't get to go to that, and they didn't use a lot of interstate performers. They mainly use Sydney-based stuntmen. So, mate, 2020 for me was, I was working for FedEx delivering parcels. So I've gone from, thinking, I'm going right here, just played Kabal. What's next? Coronavirus hit, and then I'm working as a courier, earning $30 an hour. So it's quite funny how it works out. But I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, I kind of like. I don't know. I think I'm addicted to the struggle of working in the film industry. You never know when your next job is, but then it pops up and it's just so exciting, and you're like, cool, I've got a good income for a while, and yeah.
Are there any type of stunts that you kind of get typecasted for? Like, are they like, oh, this is the fire guy that we can always light on fire, or anything like that?
No, I don't think I'm known for as the fire guy. I mean, you never know. Maybe after that job, but I get used for. I do get used for fighting stuff a bit, which is great. I remember starting out in the film industry, and there wasn't that many fighting jobs going around in Australia, and I was going, that's what I really wanted to specialize in. And I just thought, I'm never actually going to throw a punch on screen, because a lot of stunts is just getting hit by bullets, or like reactions to impacts or whatever. But I have, for the last few jobs, sort of it's mainly been martial art, or just or fighting in general. Yeah.
Did you get to do many martial arts on Thor: Love and Thunder?
I don't. I guess I'm not allowed to say much about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I can't say.
That's all right. Don't want to break that.
No, don't worry.
Yeah. They're probably listening. They've probably got a bug in the house somewhere. Yeah.
You've obviously said that you were catching up on doing your research on Kabal through the games and such. Did you check out any of the other forms of media, such as, say, Mortal Kombat Legacy, even the animated series, or have you just checked out the latest animated movies, for example?
I haven't seen the one that just came out, but I did see Scorpion's Revenge, which I thought was really cool. And it's really hard. It was really hard to find stuff on Kabal, to be honest. I know there was an animated movie where it's like him and Sonya having a
I was going to ask about this exact thing. That's why.
I only saw a snippet of it, and I was like, I don't think this is going to help me with what I'm. So I don't think I looked too much into that episode. But no, I haven't really. Other than the original movies, the 95, 97 or whatever films. I haven't really seen the. I think there's a web series, or there was a TV series. I haven't really seen too much of those, other than I'll just jump on YouTube and you just watch, like, they've got a couple of fight scenes and stuff.
Okay. Was Deception Mortal Kombat Deception in the 3D area on your list of research for Kabal? Because he was on the roster there.
I watched like the cutscene that he was involved in. Is that the one where he's got the Western accent?
I actually don't remember his accent on there, to be honest.
There's one where he's like sounds Texan.
Probably then, because I mean that's really one of his only speaking. Because he does appear in Conquest, which is why I'm asking, because that's where he sort of gets a bit of backstory. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a lot of it's just like little blurbs that you read, the character bios. That's sort of like, you know. But there are people on the internet who do the whole history of the character, which makes it quite easy for you. You know, it saves you having to watch individual episodes of certain things. You just go, oh, here's everything I need to know about the character.
A couple of our friends will be happy to hear that. No, that's cool though. It's really nice to see like that sort of drive, that determination to really learn the character. I think that passion is something that Mortal Kombat fans definitely have and appreciate, and that really did shine through in your role, in my opinion. Even if it wasn't you speaking, as we said, we all really enjoyed your performance. So thanks for doing him justice.
I appreciate it. Yeah, man. I understood the task I had taken on, and you know, I knew there were fans out there who, you know, to them Kabal is everything. So I knew like I wanted to do right by them, and I wanted to be as true as I could to a version of Kabal that, you know, this new version, but use as much as I could from the previous iterations of him. Yeah, I really, you know, respected what the games are and the fans, and you know, you just want to make them happy.
Do you have any words of encouragement for stunt workers that are considering getting into the movie industry?
I think you need to try to be fairly competent at an all-round stuntman, and then you need to find a few things that you just really hammer down on and train your ass off. So for me, like, you know, I dabble in a bit of everything, but I make sure I really work on my martial arts, and my favorite way to train is just go to trampoline parks and work on my aerial awareness. I really enjoy that. You know, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", but I love flipping in on a trampoline, and that's very handy, you know, towards stunts, because a lot of the time you're in wires, and you need to know where you are in the air.
Oh, but you mentioned earlier that you ended up doing wire work with Kabal on this movie. What wire work, or what part of that did they use?
Well, when Ludi does his bicycle kick, so that's a hand pull into the drink, and then there was another one where I did a ratchet into a like one of the stone pillars in the.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You said that was a cut scene though.
It was cut, yeah. So that didn't make. Which is, I don't know. We're just trying to piece all of it together to make it work and make it flow. So I kind of understand why things like that didn't make the film.
But
that was it. It was, you know, and I really, you know, I kind of enjoy that sort of wire work where it's just a straight pull into something, you know, make it meaty, just hit a wall, or opposed to maybe some of the twisty, flippy stuff, which is, you know, it's fun, but it's harder to get right. And yeah. I just
think meaty was a good choice of word too.
Yeah. It's weird, but I do enjoy hitting things hard. Or making it look like I've hit it hard. You know, usually it's not too bad, and they'll pad the walls out where they can, and you're wearing pads under your costume. But that's why I think we all do it. You know, that's why we get into stunts. You see guys getting smashed, and you're like, wow, how do they do that? And like some guy does that, how, and then it intrigues you, and you go, so yeah.
You've written, directed, and produced, as well as acted in a short film called Graymare in 2016. What was that like? I'm really curious to hear about it.
Man, I did do all that. So that was, I guess, at a time where trying to do anything possible to make it in the industry, and I wasn't. Sometimes you just want to act, but you're not really happy with either the roles you're getting, or you're not getting any roles. So why not make your own work? So that was a little project that I had. I wrote like a little crime thriller set in a drug rehab, and tried getting a director for it, but in the end, I just sort of was like, I want to direct it myself, and I wanted to act in it because I was chasing the acting thing, and it was hard. Looking back, I think maybe I should have just directed and maybe got someone else to be the lead. But it's no skin off my back. It was just a little, fun little experiment, and sent it through into a few festivals, and it never got anywhere. But I had a really good experience, making films, and I wish I had more time to make more little short films like that, because it's often more fun than shooting the big budget movies,
Yeah,
Do you have any?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Yanni.
I was just going to say, I mean, you're saying that you'd like to do more short films. It seems like you've done quite a few as it is, actually, based on what I can see.
Yeah, not of late, but so I've been in the film industry, I think coming up must be like 12 or 13 years, and in the beginning, like the first, like I'd say 8 years, that's a lot of what you do. You do short films, you try to get comfortable in front of the camera, and you try to make contacts and get footage so you can make a acting demo reel or whatever. So I had done a few, and they're a great experience. I mean, sometimes you do some and you're just like, you just like, oh God, I wish you just wasted your time because it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. But a lot of the time they're a lot of fun, and you get to meet some cool people, and it's funny. There's people I did university short films on that I now see on big Hollywood productions, and you're like, dude, you're still going. That's awesome. I'm glad I'm glad you stuck at it.
That's great.
Do you have any particular movie that kind of you feel like showcases your ability to the best? Like, is there any favorites that you recommend fans to check out if they want to see, a full Daniel Nelson experience?
Not really, to be honest. Like Mortal Kombat was like the first time I got a fair chunk of screen time. There's a lot of short films I've done that I have taken off the internet, and I hope people will never see them. Including like the Graymare, which is what I produced. Like, and it's not that it was a bad film, but I think like I've grown since then, and it doesn't really showcase what I'm capable of now. So deciding to remove it from the internet, people will see one thing and they make an opinion of you. So you want your best stuff out there. And I think there's a big thing about stunts too and I was guilty of it back in the day, is you get so excited in your films and stuff, and you just put it on the internet and you want everyone to see, but sometimes it does more harm than good. So you need to really, you want someone experienced to look over it, or, you can be like, hey, is this crap or is it okay? Can I, should I send it to a stunt coordinator or whatever? It's
So do you have based on what you just said, I think you're about to ask the same question I am. FANTiM, go for it.
Do you have any other projects that you're currently working on that our fans could check out?
No. I'm actually, I've had about a month off work now. I was in New Zealand working on the Untitled Amazon project for 5 weeks. I don't know if you know what that is, but
Oh, we haven't heard about that one yet. No.
It's oh, you'll just have to Google. Like that show. The security on that show was even more than Marvel. Like,
yeah.
Just Google what the untitled Amazon project is, and then
I'm doing it right now.
So our fans should check out there, and then of course Thor, as we mentioned. Was there anything else coming out that they can see you in?
Just did a music video the other day, which will be kind of fun. I was just a generic stunt background criminal by Masked Wolf, which is an Australian rapper.
Yeah, I know Masked Wolf. Yeah.
So I knew his song when I heard it. It was the most popular one, but I didn't know who he was. But I was like, that was cool. So I think that's going to drop probably maybe next week or.
Cool.
I'll make sure I share it or share some images. It was quite fun. We shot in. Actually, I can't really say.
Only say what you can. Don't worry.
Yeah, like you do stuff, and then you're like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm not meant to say anything about that because it's not out yet.
So, where can our fans follow you and keep track of your career and everything that you're doing?
Mainly Instagram. That's the one I sort of mainly post most stuff on. I do have a Twitter, but I don't use Twitter a lot. I only sort of jumped on it during Mortal Kombat and sort of posted a little bit of Mortal Kombat related stuff, and that's about it. Instagram, I post any projects I've worked on or little footage, photos of my baby. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, one thing I have noticed with a lot of the Mortal Kombat community is everybody seems to have made Twitter specifically for Mortal Kombat, including myself.
That's true. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I think like all my followers are Mortal Kombat fans, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to I'm not going to post what I had for dinner.
Well, firstly, before we let you go, I want to ask, what is your favorite fatality or brutality?
I really like when Johnny Cage does the uppercut to the groin, and it's like the spine and head pop off the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really creative. It's quite funny.
Nice.
All right. Cool.
Well, Daniel, we'd like to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. We really appreciate you coming on and talking with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I know we've been sort of trying to tee it up for a while, and I'm pretty hopeless with getting back to people at times. But, it was good that we could finally do it, and chat about Mortal Kombat again. It's been a while since I've sort of thought about it.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. You do other films, and but it's cool, man. I think it's gonna remain like one of my favorite film experiences.
That's cool to hear.
It's going to be hard to top. Yeah, it was a really, really positive experience for me.
Well, hoping to see you in a sequel or something at some point soon. So.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we loved having you on the movie. I mean, as we gushed over you this whole time, like, yeah, it was great to see you as Kabal. So thank you for bringing him to the screen and doing him justice. Like, that's the big thing that we appreciate about it.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. I'll always try to, do justice to the characters I play, and who knows what the future has in store. We'll keep in touch and see what happens.
So we'd like to thank our listeners for stopping by the Realm Kast today. You can find Yanni and myself, FANTiM, on the Mortal Kombat group on Facebook, as well as Yanni on the Mortal Kombat meme realm. Special thanks to Uppercut Editions, who are creating the Mortal Kombat Kompendium, for the continued support. You can follow them at Mortal Kombat Encyclopedia Project on Facebook. You can catch up on all episodes of the Realm Kast on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, and Spotify.
Look at yourself. You used to be someone to fear. You've fallen a long way since you led the Black Dragon.